Insightful podcasts by informative hosts. Insights into Things, a podcast network. Welcome to Insights into Entertainment, a podcast series taking a deeper look into entertainment and media. Your hosts, Joseph and Michelle Whalen, a husband and wife team of pop culture fanatics, are exploring all things from music and movies to television and fandom.
Welcome to Insights into Entertainment. This is episode 127, To Boldly Go. I am your host, Joseph Whalen, and my creative and colorful co-host, Michelle Whalen.
Hi, everyone.
How you doing today, dear?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing well. So we skipped a week last week. We had a very busy schedule. We had a lot of marching band stuff happening last week.
More of it to come.
Yes, we had a lot of very fatigued people around the house thanks to marching band.
Yep.
And we just didn't have the energy to do the podcast last week.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we did get a new camera. So
Yay.
we're running with a new wide shot here on our camera 3. So it's for you viewing audience out there.
There you go.
So this weekend we do have a busy weekend ahead of us as well. So hopefully we'll have the energy to throw a podcast together next week.
We shall see.
Yeah. We're coming up on the apex, I guess, of marching band.
Yeah, this is probably the busiest weekend coming up.
So we may be going to an every other week arrangement, probably until November when marching band events are over. Yeah. And then we can pick things back up. But we'll see. We're trying to get them out there, but it's a rough schedule.
Right. We need downtime, as well.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. Well, plus we're producing
True.
for band now as well. I've been roped into.
You've been voluntold.
I've been voluntold to use my video resources to now
help
record video and audio for the band, and we're putting director's cuts videos together and stuff like that. So that's even more time consuming for me at this point. But anyway, moving right along, we are talking entertainment today. So today in our Disney Detective, how a villain avoids breaking character, plus 50 years after opening, and these workers never left. Then in our Tales from the Edge of the Galaxy, the Galactic Star Cruiser is getting its own comics, and just how dangerous would a dark side Luke actually be? And in our entertainment news, William Shatner is finally reaching for the final frontier, then a touching moment between Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga during his final performance. And as always, we'll finish up with our insightful picks of the week and a few remaining afterthoughts. They're dropping off rapidly as we wane on through the year, but there are a few left to still talk about. But before we do that, I would invite folks to subscribe to the podcast. You can find the audio versions of this podcast listed as Insights into Entertainment. Video versions of all of our podcasts can be found listed as Insights into Things, and we can be found on Google, Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon, etc., etc. Pretty much any place you can get a podcast. I would also invite folks to write in, give us your feedback, give us your shows that we can talk about. If there's other comic book shows, toy shows, pop culture shows we can plug for you. You can email us at comments@insightsintothings.com or hit us on Twitter at insights_things. We're also on Facebook at facebook.com/insightsintothingspodcast and Instagram at instagram.com/insightsintothings, or you can get links to all that on our official website at insightsintothings.com. Are we ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Go for Disney Detective.
So, as many people know, Disney refers to their employees as cast members, even if you aren't playing a popular, known character. But for those who do face characters, there are significant challenges to the role that other than just learning the lines. So for one dedicated Disney cast member, possibly the biggest challenge of their acting career may have been when they were facing off against a pint-sized version of themselves. Posted by TikTok account Bad Parenting Moments, Maleficent's hilarious exchange with her tiny doppelganger garnered over 20 million views and nearly 10,000 comments. So in the video, a very in-character Maleficent is put to the test when a villainous toddler approaches her. "It's awfully small," the evil queen sneers at the tiny tot, who then promptly blows her a sweet kiss. Maleficent asks the toddler's mom, "Is it blowing me a kiss?" who smiles, standing while watching close by. And the true test of Maleficent's acting skills comes when the toddler touches the villainess's gloved hand, forcing the queen to turn a stony face and then look off into the crowd. So while the evildoer never officially broke character, many TikTokers feel that the actress's face betrays just how desperately she just wanted to hug the toddler. Thousands of TikTokers shared their reaction to the sweet moment in the comments. One said, "I love how they just don't break character. I would have totally broken character. She was just way too cute." Another one had said, "Oh my God, her face, it's so precious." Another person had said, "You can just see how hard it is that she's not breaking character because she's just so cute." And then, of course, at the end, she's trying so hard not to smile and just hug her. And another person said, "I would have melted like ice on a summer day." So thanks to dedicated performers like this talented Maleficent, Disney World continues to be a place of magic and joy for kids everywhere, and obviously the kids at heart too.
So let me guess. This is your attempt to fight my bashing of Disney, to find every cute little kid story at Disney to put out there now.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's it.
This was cute. Unfortunately, when I pulled up the article, the link wasn't in there.
Right.
To view it, because it is a really cute video to actually watch.
Yeah, and it's really short. It's not very long, but you can tell, at one point Maleficent kind of turns her head, because if she had any more interaction with the toddler, she would have completely lost it and wanted to just love on her. And that's what I think is so great about the Disney characters, especially the villains, how they work almost extra hard to be bad, to be mean, so from the evil stepsisters to even Gaston. There was an article from a couple of months ago where this 20-year-old woman was like flirting with him, and he was just kind of like,
well, I
whatever.
remember we did the one character meal, where was it? Did the one character meal, and it was
the Grand Floridian.
That was
so
was
it
where
was the stepsisters. The evil Cinderella's stepsisters.
And the one stepsister came around, and she was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
But she was hilarious in character.
Right.
And she did it in such a way as to be entertaining for the adults, but also entertaining for the kids at the same time. So it wasn't like adult humor, but it was the sarcasm. It was the dark humor type stuff.
Right, where kids probably wouldn't have understood what she was insinuating, but the parents did.
Yeah, so they do a fantastic job with it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we always have the one famous incident where we had the camera break on us.
Right.
And they weren't face characters. They were costume characters. And they were running around like crazy, playing hide and seek and duck goose and everything else, just to keep one little girl occupied.
Yep.
When they could have very easily walked us outside and put us back in the line and told us to wait till they got a new camera.
Right.
So kudos to them for that. And they've been doing it there for 50 years now.
50 years?
50 years. And some people have never even left. So they've been trapped there for 50 years, right?
They get put in Tupperware at the end of the night, and they don't get let out.
Tell us about the veterans that have been there for that long.
So applying to be one of the first workers at Walt Disney World, high school graduate George Kalogridis made a split-second decision that set the course of his life. He picked a room where prospective hotel workers were being hired. Chuck Milan got a tip about a job opening from a transplanted Disney executive whose new house he was landscaping. Erlene Anderson jumped at the chance to take a job at the new Disney-themed park in Florida, having fallen in love with the beauty of Disneyland in California during a trip she had taken 2 years earlier. At the time, the three were among the first 6,000 employees who opened the Magic Kingdom at Disney World to the public for the first time on October 1st, 1971. Now, they are among about 24 from that first day who are still employed at the theme park resort as it celebrated its 50th anniversary the beginning of this month. Over those decades, Disney added 3 more theme parks, 24 additional hotels, and grew to have a workforce of 77,000 employees as it helped Orlando become the most visited place in the U.S. before the pandemic. What never changed was the original employees' devotion to the pixie dust, the dream machine created by Walt Disney and his Imagineers. Disney has been my love, and it still is, Erlene had said recently before starting her shift in merchandising at a Magic Kingdom hotel. She said, "I love Disney." The employees who make up the 50-year club say the theme park resort has allowed them to grow their careers and try on new hats. George worked his way up to become the president of Walt Disney World and Disneyland in California. Chuck went from a warehouse worker to a buyer of spare parts for rides and shows. Forrest Baruth joined the workforce at Walt Disney World in January of 1971 as a show director, responsible for staging and choreographing parades and shows. He was given the opportunity to help open other Disney theme parks around the world over the past 5 decades. He said, "There are people all over the world who get to go to work, they're unhappy about it, and they don't really like their jobs. But as you can tell from us, there's an enthusiasm. We are privileged to be at a place where we love what we do." There were no guarantees that Disney World was going to be a success 50 years ago. Walt Disney, the pioneering animator and entrepreneur whose name graces the Florida resort, had actually died in 1966, just a year after announcing plans for the East Coast Disneyland. The company had quietly acquired 27,000 acres of scrub land outside of Orlando for about $5 million via secret land purchases using fake names and shell companies. The job of shepherding the project to opening day fell on his brother, Roy Disney, who, with other company officials, convinced the Florida legislature to create a quasi-governmental agency that would allow Disney to self-govern when it came to matters of infrastructure and planning. Roy died almost 3 months after Disney World opened. Just weeks before opening, construction on the Magic Kingdom was controlled chaos, and it seemed impossible that it would all come together in time. It was like an army of ants. Everything was under construction, interiors were still being put up, roofing was still getting put on top, Forrest had said. There was painting and landscaping, things were arriving by the moment, it was like trucks going everywhere. Forrest had rehearsed performers throughout the parade choreography down Main Street, which cuts through the center of the Magic Kingdom and resembles the turn-of-the-century small town from Walt Disney's childhood. Even though he was a busser, George was drafted to lay down sod outside the hotel that he was working in hours before Disney World's grand opening. 2 things have stuck in the memories of the longtime employees from that opening day. The first was the photo. It was an image of thousands of Disney World cast members standing in front of the iconic Cinderella Castle with Mickey Mouse and other costumed characters holding hands in front. 2 weeks later, it was featured on the cover of Life magazine. They brought all the characters up, staged them first, and then they tried to keep all of the different workers together based on the color of their costumes, Chuck had said. The second was the parade. It featured a 1,076 member marching band conducted by Meredith Willson, who was the composer of the Broadway show The Music Man. There were 4,000 Disney entertainers marching through the theme park, a mass choir, and trumpeters from the United States Army Band. Hundreds of white doves were released in the air, and less environmentally friendly were thousands of multicolored balloons. It was the biggest thing I had ever seen, Forrest had said. But only around 10,000 visitors actually showed up that day, which at today's much larger Walt Disney World would represent about 90 minutes worth of visitors entering. They had said it wouldn't be until Thanksgiving of 1971, almost 3 months later, when Disney executives had an answer about whether their new resort would be a success. That's when cars trying to get to the Magic Kingdom stretched for miles down the interstate. It was very clear after that first Thanksgiving that the public definitely liked where they were going. That first Thanksgiving, that was the moment.
That's pretty impressive. I mean, just to think of being anywhere for that long is astonishing to me.
Oh, absolutely.
I can't picture myself being at any company for 50 years.
I'm at 22.
You're getting there. I get to around what do I get to? 7 years, 8 years, something like that,
right.
And then I'm kind of lost at that point in time.
Yeah. And speaking of the Life magazine, one of my Disney possessions happens to be, it's not a very good copy. There's some tears and stains on it, but this is the photo that they talk about that they took on opening day and ended up getting published.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Very cool when all right, let's take a picture.
Yeah.
Everybody get together.
Hurry up, get together for a picture. Right,
okay,
yeah.
Everybody color code. What costume are you wearing? Okay, you go over here, you go over here. Yeah.
That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So, anyway, 50 years. Do they get to retire at some point in time?
I don't know. Some of them might want to. Some of them,
They're still pretty young looking for,
Yeah, well, you figure, if you were in high school, you were not even 20.
Yeah.
So maybe it's one of those, or you just kind of work part-time, or
not a bad job if you can get it, right?
No, not at all.
So that was it for our Disney Detective. We'll be back in a minute after our quick break with our Tales from the Edge of the Galaxy. For over 7 years, the Second Sith Empire has been the premier community guild in the online game Star Wars: The Old Republic. With hundreds of friendly and helpful active members, a weekly schedule of nightly events, annual guild meet and greets, and an active community both on the web and on Discord. The Second Sith Empire is more than your typical gaming group. We're family. Join us on the Starforge server for nightly events such as operations, flashpoints, world boss hunts, Star Wars trivia, guild lottery, and much more. Visit us on the web today at www.thesecondsithempire.com. So this week, in our Tales from the Edge of the Galaxy, Disney's Galactic Star Cruiser gets the Marvel treatment. StarWars.com writes that the voyages are the greatest of all Star Cruisers. As the legendary Halcyon embarks on a momentous cruise, the ship heads towards a confrontation with the First Order. But what secret from the High Republic era can help the passengers and crew all these years later? And how did Jedi Nibs and Burry fend off a Nihil attack on one of the ship's first ever voyages? Well, the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser Halcyon is ready to launch, and you're invited along for the ride. Star Wars Halcyon Legacy is a new 5-issue comic book miniseries from Marvel debuting next year. Sorry. I should just read it the way it's written, right?
Yeah.
Written by Ethan Sachs, who penned the recent Star Wars Bounty Hunters run, with art by Will Slinney, whose work includes Star Wars The Rise of Kylo Ren and others, the series reunites the creative team behind the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge comic series for a new adventure that ties into the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser experience opening at Walt Disney World Resort in March of 2022. In a recent interview with StarWars.com, Sachs recounts, "In the summer of 1977, my life was forever changed as a 4-year-old boy by 2 experiences that have seared themselves into my brain for all these years. Seeing Star Wars in the movie theater and visiting Disney World for the first time. The chance to contribute to the lore of both with Halcyon Legacy, the tale of the ship that will be an integral memory for so many fellow fans, is an incredible honor. And to re-team with my Galaxy's Edge co-pilot, artist extraordinaire Will Slinney, makes it extra special. I promise we'll bake that joy into every page of every issue as we take you on a journey across 275 years of epic adventures, from the High Republic through the time of the First Order. You're going to enjoy this ride." With a story that spans centuries, readers can revisit the iconic ship at different points in the Star Wars timeline, reunite with familiar faces like the ultimate scoundrel pairing of Lando and Hondo teaming up for the first time, travel the stars with a featured tale that leads into the events of the Walt Disney World experience taking place between Star Wars The Last Jedi and Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. Marvel Comics editor-in-chief C.B. Cebulski adds, "As a lifelong Star Wars fan, I'm thrilled to be a part of the team helping to bring Halcyon Legacy to life. We've all been able to experience Star Wars in so many ways over the years, from watching the films to playing with the toys to reading the comics to even visiting Batuu and drinking in the cantina. But now Walt Disney World is taking things to the next level with this immersive, interactive experience. Our series will get you up to speed on this important part of the galaxy far, far away as you prepare to put on your cloak, pick up your lightsaber, and blast off in Orlando."
And spend $5,000 for 2 nights.
So, yeah. Since this article came out, we also got the pre-order available for DVC members,
Which in less than a day and a half had sold out.
which is painfully encouraging for Disney, because it tells Disney that no matter what they charge, people are going to pay the rates.
Right. Now, this preview, it wasn't just for DVC. It was also
Annual members.
annual pass holders as well were part of that as well. So, yes.
So how many points was it for the 2-night stay?
I think it was going to be around 600 or so per person.
That's reasonable, right? How much is a cruise?
Less than 600
Yeah.
a person.
Yeah, a 5-night cruise.
5-night cruise, maybe it's about 4 or 5, maybe
Yeah.
6, depending on the stateroom you have. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, maybe. I don't know. We've never actually priced out a cruise.
And
so.
this is bottom line prices.
Right. This was like the cheap room that sleeps 5. So,
Yeah. So still very disappointed at that.
Yeah.
But you left me feeling too good with our
You had to put a dig.
yeah, I had to throw something in there.
So, hey, read all this story and get really hyped up about a real ship that you can go on that you're never going to have enough money to
But
to
make
go
sure
and
you
do.
get a deal in the comic so you can save your money for the actual trip.
There you go.
Anyway, moving right along.
So what other happy Star Wars news do you have?
So we also are talking about how dangerous a dark side Luke would be. This one comes from our friends at Screen Rant. Finally, Star Wars has revealed just how dangerous a dark side Luke Skywalker would be. The Tatooine farm boy with a thirst for adventure who learned he was the son of a Jedi Knight, Luke would prove that one man can change the history of an entire galaxy when he shot down the Death Star, and again when he successfully redeemed Darth Vader, leading the Sith apprentice to turn on his master. Luke is a legendary figure, renowned for his strength in the Force and his unshakable belief in the possibility of redemption. Naturally, Star Wars fans have always wondered just what would happen if Luke Skywalker ever turned to the dark side. The old expanded universe toyed with that idea in the Dark Empire comics, in which Luke bent knee before a resurrected emperor, but even then it didn't last long, with Luke himself redeemed by the love of his friends and family. That story isn't even canon anymore, with Disney declaring the expanded universe, quote, legends, when they acquired Lucasfilm in 2012. The question still feels relatively unresolved, though. Amusingly, the Star Wars special Lego Star Wars Terrifying Tales actually provides an answer, albeit a non-canon one. It features an account of the Death Star's destruction by Darth Vader's twisted servant Vinay, who turns the original Star Wars story on its head by telling a tale in which Star-Lord, right, in which Luke Skywalker joined the Empire instead of the Rebellion. Power-hungry and eager for fame and celebrity, this version of Luke proved himself a skilled pilot and even earned the attention of Darth Vader himself. He became Darth Vader's apprentice, training in the ways of the Force, and it was clear he had even more power than the man he did not know was his father. Ironically, Luke's story ended in the same way when he fired a stray shot during the battle over the Death Star and accidentally obliterated it. No doubt in Vinay's version, Luke joined the rebellion in order to claim he'd intended to fire that shot all along. Of course, this is just a tall tale told in a Halloween special, but the really striking thing about the account of Darth Vader's servant Vinay is how easily it could have happened. Viewers tend to forget that Luke Skywalker's dreams of seeing the galaxy were originally leading him to join the Empire. And in fact, in the first film, he fought with his uncle over whether it was time for him to enlist. Luke's heroic journey really began when Imperial stormtroopers gunned down his aunt and uncle, giving him a personal reason to oppose the Empire. Things could have easily turned out differently. Lucasfilm is increasingly diving into non-canon Star Wars stories, most notably with the Star Wars Visions animated series, and it's possible these can give viewers a better glimpse of a dark side Luke Skywalker. For now, though, Lego Star Wars Terrifying Tales suggest he would be a force to reckon with. And we haven't, full disclosure, we haven't seen it yet.
Right, we were going to watch it this weekend, but we just never got our...
We had so much other stuff to watch in our sloth-like states this weekend.
Yeah.
So much so we even missed one of the toy shows we wanted to go to.
Yeah, exactly. Well, not that we weren't talking about it for like 2 months.
I know. We plugged it all this time and then never even went.
Oh, crud, we missed that.
But yeah, I remember reading the Dark Empire comics, and they were really good. In fact, they have put out a limited edition series of figures, which I have all the figures from it as well. And the artwork is gorgeous in it. So if you get a chance, go back and read it. Even if you get the digital versions of it, it made for a very interesting take on what an alternate version of Darth Vader's story could have been too, which was really good. And it also lends a little bit of credence to the rise of Skywalker and the resurrection of the Emperor. And you can kind of see where elements of that storyline for the movie came from the expanded universe.
Okay.
It was executed in probably the worst possible way imaginable, Had they just stuck with the story from the comics, it would have been awesome. But they didn't. So anyway, Dark Side Luke Skywalker.
Okay.
And that's it for our Tales from the Edge of the Galaxy. We'll be back in a minute with our entertainment news.
Insights into Teens, a podcast series exploring the issues and challenges of today's youth. Talking to real teens about real teen problems. Explore issues from braces to puberty, social anxiety to financial responsibility. Each week, we talk about the topics concerning today's youth. We look at how the issues affect teens, how to cope with these issues, and how parents, friends, and loved ones can help teens handle these challenges. Check out our video episodes on youtube.com/insightsintothings. Catch our audio versions on podcast.insightsintoteens.com or on the web at insightsintothings.com.
Go for entertainment news.
So William Shatner can now say that he's gone boldly where no man, his age, has gone before. He's certainly not the first person to visit space, but as of today, Wednesday, the Star Trek veteran is now the oldest. At 90, the actor joined Blue Origin, founded by Amazon founder Jeff Bezos in 2000, for its second human spaceflight. Shatner and 3 others were launched in a New Shepard rocket from the aerospace company's West Texas launch site just before 11 a.m. today. The crew safely landed back on Earth several minutes later when Shatner could be heard saying that the experience was unlike anything they had described. All 4 passengers on board gave a thumbs up to the recovery crew upon landing to indicate that they were okay. Bezos greeted the passengers with a double thumbs up outside the landing capsule, followed by the passengers' family and friends who cheered and applauded. Shatner told Bezos, "In a way, it's indescribable. Not only is it different than what you thought, it happened so quickly. The impression I had that I never expected to have is the shooting up, and there's the blue sky." And then Bezos sprayed him with a bottle of champagne. Everybody in the world needs to do this. Everybody in the world needs to see it, Shatner continued. It was unbelievable. The little things, the weightlessness, but just to see the blue color of the sky whip you up, and now you're staring into blackness, and then it's gone. It was all so moving. This experience did something unbelievable. Bezos, he had said to Bezos, "What you had given me is the most profound experience I can imagine. I hope I never recover from this." Shatner is obviously best known as playing Captain James T. Kirk in the Star Trek franchise, and he had said in a press release on October 4th they had heard about space, for a long time now, and he was taking the opportunity to see it for himself. But Shatner also admitted to being very nervous to go up into space. He said, "I'm terrified," during New York's Comic Con last Thursday, according to Space.com. He said, "I know, I'm Captain Bloody Kirk, and I'm terrified." The launch had actually been scheduled for Tuesday, but forecasting high winds prompted a delay to the following day. Blue Origin announced prior to the launch that it would only last just about 10 minutes, with the fully automated capsule reaching a maximum altitude of about 66 miles before parachuting back into the desert. Along with Shatner, the spaceflight passengers in Blue Origin's second human spaceflight included Blue Origin's Vice President of Mission and Flight Operations, Audrey Powers, a former NASA engineer and tech entrepreneur, Chris Bawaizen, and the founder of a clinical trial software company, Glenn DeVries. The latter 2 passengers paid for tickets on the flight, Blue Origin has not publicly disclosed the price of the tickets, though Bezos has previously said the total of tickets sold were nearing $100 million.
So this is cool, okay? I'm not going to take anything away from
Right.
Shatner for this. I mean, the man's 90 years old, and he just got shot into space on a rocket.
Yeah.
Now, it's important to point out, this wasn't an orbital shot.
Mm-mm.
This was a ballistic trajectory up and down.
Right.
Which in and of itself is impressive that we can do this with common regularity now, when
Right.
you think at the beginning of the space race we couldn't even manage something
To
like
get
this.
anything up.
Right.
Let alone come back down.
Right.
You know?
And it's funny you use that terminology given what the rocket looks like.
And I'm sure everybody that's listening knows what it looks like.
Yeah, we didn't show a picture.
We didn't need to
Anyway.
show pictures.
But this is a gimmick. This is doing
Absolutely.
absolutely nothing for space tourism. It's doing nothing for space exploration or technology advancements. Nothing. We've been able to do this for quite some time now. And these little jaunts up and down are they're attention grabbers. That's it.
Oh, absolutely.
What was impressive was when SpaceX put its first tourists up into space into orbit at an orbit higher than the International Space Station for 3 days.
Yeah.
It was the furthest humans had been away from Earth since we went to the moon.
Right.
That is significant.
Absolutely. This was kind of just the wee, this was like the Disneyland version of Mission to Mars. Like,
Right.
oh, I've been on a centrifuge now, so I can go into
Right. So
space,
in this, because they don't have to achieve orbital velocity, which is 14,500 miles an hour, I think it is, the acceleration is much more tame. You hit maybe 2G, 2.5G
Right.
going up, which is roughly what you get on an amusement ride.
Right.
So the rigors on the body are not nearly as
Right. The fact that
significant.
you don't have a specialized suit, you don't
Right.
have to wear any sort of helmet. You're basically just, the whole thing literally took 10 minutes from.
The closest thing I
Start
can
to
equate
finish.
this to is you have the plane, the Vomit Comet,
Yes.
where the plane itself flies ballistic arcs up and down. And during the down arc, you are weightless. That is essentially the same thing as what they did. They just didn't accelerate to the top of the arc as fast. And they didn't go as high. They don't go as high in the plane.
Right.
So, yes, this is cool. Captain Kirk finally made it to space.
Right.
I really wish we would stop giving so much attention to this stuff, though, and at least force Bezos and Virgin Galactic to do something more with this.
Right.
To do something more creative, something that betters humanity. This is essentially a balloon ride.
Right.
And it's doing absolutely nothing. It's $100 million in tickets for what? To shoot a bunch of rockets up?
Right. Now, I will say it was very cool to see it go up because basically, they didn't have much training because there's nothing for them
Right,
to
'cause
do
it's all
because
automated.
it's all, automated.
Right.
But that's what's I think that's what was fascinating more to me, the fact that it went up and then when the capsule split, the main body came back down. Okay, I'm done with what I had to do. I'm gonna come to and had this perfect landing.
Right.
That to me was like, wow,
Yeah,
that's
that is
pretty
impressive.
freaking cool. That's where I would love to see them advance it more. Like,
Yes.
okay, now that you can get people up and this part can come back, now you need to do other stuff out in space.
Yes.
Like, go beyond the whole, okay, cool, you've been in space now. And,
I'm totally with you there.
yeah, great. This is something everybody should see. Okay, when it's not millions of dollars.
Right,
And
right.
people, I don't think I would ever want to do it because I'm not a fan of flying in
Right. No, I'm with you.
So like part of me's going, okay, well it's only 10 minutes, you know. You figure when you take off in a plane, it takes about, you know, 3 or 4 minutes to get to the altitude, you know, and then by the time you're coming back down, I don't know, that landing was kind of woo.
Yeah.
That was a little jarring too.
Yeah. No, I'm totally with you on that one.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, I mean, I think it was cool, and I'd like to see more of it, but I like to see it be a little bit more advanced.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on with our geriatric portion of the show here.
So Lady Gaga was thrilled that Tony Bennett had recognized her during the pair's final performance together at Radio City Music Hall in August, according to a 60 Minutes interview on CBS. The 95-year-old singer has been battling Alzheimer's disease since 2016. Both Bennett's family and Lady Gaga had shared details of his battle with the debilitating disease during a CBS special which aired the other week on 60 Minutes. The special included a one-on-one interviews and clips from Bennett's final performance. Lady Gaga revealed that during the first few weeks, the two had spent time together since COVID-19 pandemic had begun. Bennett referred to her as sweetheart, and she was unsure if he actually knew who she was. But then she walked out on stage during their final show together, and it was heartwarming to see that he recognized the singer. When Gaga walked on stage, she greeted him with, "Hey, Tony," as the crowd cheered, and Bennett exclaimed, "Whoa, Lady Gaga!" She appeared incredibly delighted by his response, bent over in laughter before twirling around on stage in a golden dress, after which he added, I'd like that, do it again." So Lady Gaga continued to twirl before approaching Bennett for their duet. She said that was the first time that Tony had said my name in a long time. Unfortunately, memory loss is a key aspect of dementia, and Alzheimer's is the most common cause of dementia and affects an estimated 60 to 80% of all people with dementia. Despite his diagnosis, Bennett continued to perform and sing and remembered Gaga for his final show. I had to keep it together because we had a sold-out show and I have a job to do, but I'll tell you, when I walked out on stage and he said, "It's Lady Gaga," my friends saw me, and it was very special to me, she had said. Bennett doesn't let his disease get in the way of performing and making music that everybody loves. When that music comes on, something happens to him. He knows exactly what he's doing, and what's important for me, actually, is just to make sure that I don't get in the way of that, Lady Gaga had told CBS. The two have a strong relationship and first collaborated on Bennett's album Duets 2 and then on their co-album in 2014, Cheek to Cheek. They recently joined forces on what will be Bennett's last album, Love for Sale, according to People. Bennett's wife Susan also opened up about her husband's Alzheimer's battle during the special. She says, "He recognizes me, thank goodness. His children, and we're blessed in a lot of ways. He's very sweet. He doesn't know what he has." Backstage during the show, Susan was seen watching Lady Gaga's set with Bennett and reminded that he was going out to perform that evening as well. But as soon as the curtain rose to reveal Bennett on stage, he seemed like his old self again. Once he saw the audience and he raises his hands, we knew everything was going to be okay because he became himself and it just turned on like a light switch. To close out the night, Lady Gaga asked Bennett if she could have the honor of escorting him off the stage. "Just simply being the woman that got to walk him off stage was enough for me." Viewers then watched as Lady Gaga was fighting through tears, told Bennett that he was so amazing and spectacular during the final performance.
And it is amazing that given the condition that he has, that he can continue to perform the way he does.
Yeah, and when the original airing of the show, of the 60 Minutes piece aired, I actually had missed it. I knew it was coming up and I ended up missing it, so I found it online, and when I saw the article talking about it, I wanted to watch it, and it was just, it was so sad in a way, because you saw him just sitting there, like, kind of in a trance because he didn't know what was going on. And then in the next room, his musical arranger is sitting there playing at the piano, and he just, like, it's like a light switch literally came on, and he just walked in and didn't have anything in front of him, didn't have any music in front of him, and he starts playing, and they played for an hour and a half straight of all these different songs, and he didn't, like, every now and then might have missed a beat or something, but for the most part you would have not known that he was as sick as he was.
And, like, a lot of people might look at that and say, my God, why are you making this man continue to perform? Until you realize that it's that performing that brings the man back out.
That's exactly what they were saying, is that, you know, at the time when they had talked about and I guess they were doing 2 nights for this concert, and they're actually they had taped it, so the concert is actually going to be played I think later this year on CBS as a special. And when they had booked it, they had actually booked it before the pandemic. And he, you know, wasn't as sick. And of course, as time went on, it was like, well, do we cancel it? Do we not? What do we do? You know, but they kept rehearsing with him, and he seemed to be okay. And that's when Lady Gaga was talking about how they got together, and he would call her sweetheart. He never called her by name, where he always knew her name beforehand. And you know, they kept rehearsing. They finally got the dates. They were very, very nervous. Hi, kitty. They were very nervous about it. And as you know, and his wife, you know, was talking about, she's walking him on stage. You know where you're going, right? And he didn't really know. But as soon as the music came up and the curtains open, again, it was that light switch came on where...
Like, his brain was just so hardwired over so many years of performing that's the pattern that he falls into when the music starts.
Absolutely. And
you almost hate to see that taken away from him by not performing anymore.
And that's what you kind of see with some Alzheimer's patients or patients with dementia. There's that thing that...
Like, almost like there's a groove in the brain that you fall back into.
You know, you find music happens to be a big trigger for some of them, where, you know, a favorite song or something, or if they were an artist, you know, you give them a paintbrush and they kind of, you know, that part of their brain still function. It's just that everything else is just so clouded, you know, around it, you know, the disease. And I saw the clip where, you know, Tony says, there's my friend Lady Gaga. And you can tell she was ready to just burst into tears, because it was like, oh my God, he actually knows, you know, who I am. So I'm looking forward to, you know, to seeing the special.
Yeah.
So.
Good story. That's it for our entertainment news this week, which is good because it got a little too emotional there. Let's move right along. We still have a show to finish up here ourselves. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back with our insightful picks of the week. Go for your insightful pick.
So my insightful pick happens to be the new Muppets Haunted Mansion special that is on Disney+. So the great Gonzo, world-famous daredevil artist, has done it all, seen it all, survived it all. But on Halloween night, the fearless Gonzo takes on the greatest challenge of his life by spending one very daring night in the most grinning place on Earth, the Haunted Mansion. I can't do it as well as you. Inspired by all 4 of the iconic Disney Haunted Mansion attractions located across the globe at various Disney parks, the Muppets Haunted Mansion includes many hidden Easter eggs for Disney fans and Muppet-sized sets and props that help immerse viewers in the storytelling experience. This marks the Muppets' first ever Halloween special and features 3 original songs: Rest in Peace, Life Hereafter, and Tie the Knot Tango. A star-studded Muppet cast, celebrity cameos, and spooky fun for families to enjoy together. Now, this was something I was looking forward to for months when they had announced it. You were kind of like, all right, we'll watch it. So this was definitely on our watch list because it dropped on Friday. I was like, we are watching this on Saturday. Come on, let's all be happy. And we all enjoyed it. You not being really a Muppet fan, were very entertained by it. I was a Muppet fan as a kid, so I grew up with it. And obviously, being a Haunted Mansion fan on top of it, this was like my two worlds, my childhood kind of coming together. So it had a lot of very classic Muppet Show tributes, as well as a lot of Haunted Mansion tributes as well. Excuse me. Getting all choked up. Just a lot of inside jokes. If you're a fan of the Haunted Mansion, you probably got all of them the first time around. And who doesn't love a screaming goat? So
You didn't bring it up.
No, I didn't. I should have.
Should have brought it up. Anyway, good pick. I did like it. It was very good.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. So my pick this week is an interesting documentary. How to Become a Tyrant on Netflix. I was inspired by recent political things. Ruling with an iron fist requires an aspiring dictator to know the playbook for absolute power, as history's despots prove in this sardonic docuseries. A 6-episode political documentary series narrated and produced by award-winning actor Peter Dinklage explores what's needed to be a tyrannical leader based on history's best examples of tyrants. Each episode explores a specific aspect associated with successful dictators and cites specific examples from Hitler to Stalin. Interested in becoming a tyrant? There are rules, and the playbook for a rise to dictatorship starts with one of history's most brutal, with Adolf Hitler. Once you've secured your place at the top, now the challenge is maintaining power, which means watching your back. Nobody did that better or more ruthlessly than Saddam Hussein. But dictatorships are about controlling the population. When keeping your population under control, is it better to be loved or feared? Idi Amin certainly thought he knew the right answer to that question. The truth can often get in the way of a tyrant, which we learned under our previous administration, which is why controlling the truth and any information supporting that truth is key. The series explores that aspect of tyrants as well. Through public relations spin, revisionist history, and censorship, Soviet autocrat Joseph Stalin found a certain flexibility with the truth useful. Civil liberties are another impediment to dictators, something else we saw in the last 4 years. Free speech, right to assembly. Rebel-turned-dictator Muammar Gaddafi realized that civil liberties had to go when reshaping society, but he got soft. The ultimate goal, though, is to rule forever, or at least to have your dynasty rule forever, which we saw in the last administration, too. Seizing power is hard, but keeping it is harder. In North Korea, the Kim dynasty unlocked the secret to ruling forever. They just declared themselves gods, which we almost saw in the last administration. So the show is really the ultimate in dark humor applied to politics. Much of the lessons are tongue-in-cheek looks at history's worst leaders and how they were able to muster and maintain control of their countries. The most disturbing thing of the documentary was the similarity in tactics exposed by so many other monsters in history and what we saw in our own country with the political rise of Donald Trump. By the end of the first episode, it's clear that this series is a cautionary tale of modern times and today's questionable political leadership told through the eyes of a historical retrospective. It doesn't take a university professor to see the point the show is driving home. that the United States lived through our own brush with a tyrant who exhibited most, if not all, of the traits associated with history's worst tyrants. It's an entertaining and educational look at all the warning signs to avoid another Trump presidency and should be shown to every classroom in the country. The sad thing is, as dramatic and realistic a call for help that it is, there's still a segment of the population that will still blindly fall in line behind the next wannabe tyrant, just like so many other countries did with the subjects of this documentary series. I didn't get too political there, did I?
No, not at all. I didn't think at all.
I thought I was pretty neutral there.
No, I think you were. Totally.
So that is my pick for this week, How to Become a Tyrant on Netflix. And we'll be right back. We're going to have to explain that because it sounds like I'm torturing someone. So what is that?
So this is our screaming goat.
Okay, so why is the screaming goat so significant? Give us a walkthrough.
You're going to have to watch the Haunted Mansion, Muppets Haunted Mansion
Okay,
to know.
no spoilers.
No spoilers. So once you know.
Hold up to the mic.
So obviously this isn't the goat from
Right.
it. It just happens to be something that we picked up at Dave & Buster's, and we had a good laugh with it because we knew, the significance
so
of it.
maybe next week we'll come back and we can explain the joke.
Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe.
We'll see. We'll see.
Anyway, so what do we got now? We got closing thoughts because we're done learning how to be a dictator, right?
Right.
We can move right along
So, October 22nd through the 24th in Oaks, Pennsylvania will be, I guess, the last Monster Mania for the year.
Well, the year's almost over, so it's
True.
okay.
Yeah, so it's okay. This is the first time they've ever been to this location. Unfortunately, we won't be able to go that weekend. So if anybody that's listening does go,
this marching band thing's really starting to cramp our style when it comes to conventions.
Sorry. So let us know how it is. What it's like, because obviously we've been to numerous things at that location, but never Monster Mania. Also that weekend, if you are in the Baltimore area, Baltimore Comic Con is back, and it is October 22nd through the 24th as well, located, not too far from the Inner Harbor area.
Beautiful area there, by the way.
Yeah, beautiful area. Definitely a much more comic-centric.
Right.
Whereas, like, Monster Mania, there's monster stuff, but there's lots of vendors and things like this. With Baltimore, when we went, of course, it's been many years.
Been a long time.
It was definitely much more artist-centric.
Yes.
And then in December will be Ocean City Comic Con. So we got multiple states here. And that'll be, it's a one day. It's December 11th from 10 to 5. And that is in Ocean City, Maryland. So
technically, Ocean City and Baltimore are in the same state.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, forgot.
Geography, not our strong point.
Well, whatever. It's been a long week.
I think that's all we had, right?
Yep, that's it for now.
Before we do go, I do want to once again encourage you to subscribe to the podcast. You can get audio. You can get audio versions of the podcast listed as Insights into Entertainment. Video versions of all of our podcasts are listed as Insights into Things. Available on Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Spotify, Castro, Stitcher, Google. Stitcher's on there twice. I got to take that off of there. What else? Podbean, Buzzsprout, etc., etc. Anywhere you can get a podcast.
Right.
And we would also encourage you to reach out to us and give us your feedback. Which list are you going to look at here to read? We'll see. You can email us at comments@insightsintothings.com.
You can find us at Twitter at insights_things.
We're on Facebook at facebook.com/insightsintothingspodcast.
We're on Instagram at instagram.com/insightsintothings.
You can get audio versions of this podcast on the web at podcast.insightsintoentertainment.com.
You can find video versions at podcast.insightsintothings.com.
You can also get high-res versions of our shows on YouTube at youtube.com/insightsintothings.
You can find us on Twitch at twitch.tv/insightsintothings, where we stream 5 days a week.
When I think of it, yeah.
We
if
stream
I'm in the
whenever.
office, it's,
Whenever.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay faithful to it, but 5 days a week pretty much. Or you can get links to all that and more on our official website at www.insightsintothings.com. And that is it. Another one in the books.
Have a good week, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.